Up with KREM begins now.
Coming up on 6:30 this morning, the defense and the prosecution have both rested their cases in the Derrick Chauvin trial. Chauvin himself choosing not to take the stand.
I will invoke my Fifth Amendment privilege today.
We'll tell you what's coming up on Monday and the advice the judge gave to the jury. Plus, for the first time in nearly 4 decades, Spokane Public Schools is proposing major changes to school boundaries. We'll explain what they're proposing and why.
And we're talking an absolutely beautiful Friday in store for the Inland Northwest and an even warmer, even sunnier weekend ahead. I've got your details.
We do begin this morning with breaking news. At least 8 people are dead after a gunman opened fire at a Fedex facility in Indianapolis overnight. The gunman is also dead due to self-inflicted wounds, according to police in the area. Several other people were also injured and have been taken to the hospital. This morning we're hearing from people who witnessed the shooting.
Not once did you ever think it was going to be happening in your own backyard. You know what I mean? So this is the way this is. You know, you hear about these shootings and everything. You know, of course, and you're praying for the people, you're praying for the souls of the person that did this. That committed this crime, but never once did you think it would happen in your own backyard. And when it does, it's like a wake-up call.
FedEx has released a statement saying its thoughts are with all of those people affected and that it's working with the investigating authorities. We'll keep you updated here on KREM and KREM.com. Of course, we want to thank you for joining us here this morning on Up with KREM. I'm Joshua Robinson, and now let's take a look outside on a beautiful Friday morning with Jeremy Legoo.
It's absolutely beautiful out there, and temperatures are pretty mild, Joshua. We're getting even warmer later on today. We've got plenty of sunshine already here across the Inland Northwest and some mild temps taking us out the door. 38 in Spokane, 36 in Coeur d'Alene, 32 in Sandpoint now, and 38 over in Moses Lake. I do think temperatures rise quickly now that the sun is up and the wind is calm. We've got calm wind this morning. We do see a few wind gusts as the sun gets a little higher in the sky. That's that mixing that we talked about the past few days. But don't worry, the wind is much lighter than it has been the past few days. We've also got plenty of sunshine, similar to what we saw as we head through the middle part of the week. And guess what? Temperatures on the rise. We're starting out the day with temps down in the 30s, but by about 9 a.m. we are up to about 50. By 10 a.m. knocking on the door of 60. By noon we are in the 60s, and by this afternoon we are up near 70 degrees. I don't think we quite hit it today, but it is going to be a warm, sunny, beautiful kind of afternoon. You want those 70s? Just wait a day. We'll hit them both days over the weekend.
Well, the jury in Derrick Chauvin's murder trial is now on track to begin deliberating next week. With closing arguments set for Monday, the former Minneapolis police officer charged with murdering George Floyd chose not to take the stand in his own defense. After closing arguments, the jury will be sequestered for as long as it takes to deliberate.
How much do I pack? If I were you, I would plan for long and hope for short. Basically, it's up to the jury how long you deliberate, how long you need to come to a unanimous decision on any count.
A few miles north in Brooklyn Center, protests in the wake of Daunte Wright's death continued for a 5th straight day. Kim Potter, who allegedly mistook her taser for her firearm during the fatal traffic stop, went before a judge for the first time on Thursday via Zoom. The former officer is charged with second-degree manslaughter and faces a maximum sentence of 10 years in prison if convicted. Potter was ordered back in court next month.
Show me your f***ing head. Drop it. Drop it. No touchdown.
Protesters also gathered in front of Chicago's police department last night, hours after body camera footage was released showing an officer shoot 13-year-old Adam Toledo. The chase last month lasted 20 seconds before Officer Eric Stillman opened fire. Police say they were responding to gunshots picked up by an audio scanner. The family's attorney insists Toledo was unarmed when he was shot.
Adam, during his last second of life, did not have a gun in his hand.
Police say Toledo did have a gun on him before the shooting and that a semi-automatic pistol was recovered a few feet away from where the teen was shot. Chicago's mayor says there's an ongoing independent investigation into the officers' actions from the city's Civilian Office of Police Accountability. Bringing things back to Spokane, where there are talks of changing school boundaries for the first time in 4 decades. The overhaul would impact thousands of local families, and here's what these changes really come down to. Spokane Public Schools argue the changes are needed to support changes in grade configurations, relieve overcrowding, and accommodate student growth throughout the district. Now, during a forum last night, SPS Boundary Committee members discussed Northside schools with a focus on Southside happening next week. The biggest question discussed is why? Well, Spokane Public Schools says housing and demographics have shifted. School enrollment numbers have also shifted, resulting in dramatic differences in school sizes. Less than 10% of elementary students, about 40% of middle school, and a quarter of high school students would be affected. You can see those numbers on your screen right now. The committee made a list of 6 guidelines that they're following for changing the attendance lines, communication and process, diversity, legacy, neighborhoods, school quality, transportation, and that, of course, is also how they decided on these boundaries. SPS is holding 4 online community forums to collect feedback for the Boundary Adjustment Committee on what would be a draft of proposed adjustments. The next forum will be Monday night at 6:30. Meanwhile, across state line, 2 finalists are being considered for the next superintendent of Coeur d'Alene Public Schools. Current Superintendent Dr. Stephen Cook has accepted a new role at an Oregon school district and will leave at the end of the current school year. In the first of multiple public forums, the Board of Trustees interviewed Dr. Kate Orozco and Dr. Sean Hawker for the role last night. Both candidates were asked the same questions selected from public suggestions.
How will you ensure the district can continue its mission to invest in each student to prepare, challenge, and advance well-educated, resilient, and future-ready citizens, with the knowledge that education funding is lacking at the state level and local school funding levies are becoming increasingly polarized and politicized?
I believe that for students to grow up in a community and feel inspired to be good citizens and come back after they're educated, and I believe to do that well, they have to be inspired by our community, by our togetherness, by our collective, by our obvious commitment to them and to each other. We have to be the community that welcomes students back.
A passion of mine is helping each individual student be successful. And that requires options. That requires voice and choice. That requires our educators, our teachers to be dedicated to identifying what's important and essential for students to learn, but then being creative and embracing that art of teaching with coming up with avenues to help our kids do that.
Another round of interview questions will be taking place today. Parents and community members are encouraged to give feedback on the forums at the email on your screen. Still ahead this morning on Up with KREM, Bloomsday 2021 is now 2 weeks away. This morning, Brandon T. Jones is joining us to share how you can get some help with training today.
Joshua, we're talking all things Bloomsday on this beautiful Friday morning, and coming up after the break, Bloomsday Executive Race Director John Neal will be joining me talking about where you can find some of these brand new Bloomsday t-shirts. Stay tuned.
Ooh, I need one of those. All right, I'm also going to take you outside and let you know a beautiful forecast, or about a beautiful forecast that's in store for the weekend. Oh, great for running. We'll be back after this.